making headlines. President calls on public to avoid activities that harm health, urging a collective shift towards healthier lifestyles. President underscores the transformative power of education, describing it as the nation's most valuable investment for a prosperous future. A Palestinian journalist was killed on Monday and 9 others wounded when an Israeli airstrike hit a tent used by local media in southern Gaza. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. President Dr. Mohammad Moizu calls on the public to avoid activities that harm physical and mental health, urging a collective shift towards healthier lifestyles. The president shared this appeal on social media in a message marking World Health Day, underscoring the importance of well-being. Speaking in this regard, President Dr. Moizu emphasized the need for a collective shift towards healthier habits and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to strengthening the nation's healthcare system. This year's World Health Day theme, Healthy Beginnings, Hopeful Futures, focuses on maternal and newborn health, aiming to reduce preventable deaths and promote long-term well-being for women and children. The government has made significant strides in healthcare with a focus on prevention, including the establishment of a nationwide primary healthcare system for made to Dharmavanta and Hurumale hospitals and plans to expand IGMH by 117 beds. President Dr. Mohammad Moizu underscores the transformative power of education, describing it as the nation's most valuable investment for a prosperous future. He made this statement in his address marking the commencement of the academic year 2025.
Opening his remarks with heartfelt wishes to students, teachers and parents, the President highlighted the profound importance of education as articulated in Holy Quran. He reaffirmed the government's steadfast commitment to strengthening the education sector, presenting a comprehensive vision for its development. Elaborating on the initiatives aimed at enhancing the education framework, the President outlined efforts to expand opportunities and training for educators, foster conducive learning environments, upgrade facilities, and support stakeholders within the sector. He assured that every child across the islands would have equitable access to quality education, aspiring to outcomes that instill pride in parents and the community. Turning to the broader societal role in education, the President underscored the necessity of collective effort. He called for active participation from all members of society, urging teachers and parents to serve as exemplary role models for students and to cooperate fully in nurturing the next generation. The President's appeal also extended to the public, encouraging sustained dedication to the progress and success of education in the new academic year. He underscored the importance of collaboration in cultivating children's skills and enhancing their achievements on both national and international platforms. Reflecting on the blessing of intellect and thought bestowed by Allah, President described these as humanity's greatest gifts. He urged the nation to harness the divine endowment through education, cautioning that the absence of learning could lead to societal regression into ignorance and discord. He also highlighted the shared responsibility of the government and citizens to ensure that students received an education that equips them to become productive members of society. Closing his address, President called on educators to serve with sincerity and a profound sense of duty. He also encouraged parents to remain steadfast in providing their children with a strong foundation rooted in quality education. To students, he offered words of inspiration, urging them to seize opportunities from an early age to maximize their potential. The President also commemorated the occasion of his official X account, extending warm greetings to students, parents, teachers, and all those dedicated to the education sector.
Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif encouraged students to work hard and strive for success as the new academic year begins. In a social media message, he extended well wishes to students, parents, and teachers across the country. The academic year officially started on Monday with around 90,000 students returning to classrooms after a month-long holiday. This year, 11,000 teachers, including 10,000 in government schools, are dedicated to providing quality education. The government's commitment to education is reflected in a student-teacher ratio of 8:1. Essential resources like textbooks and supplies have been distributed to ensure a smooth start. The academic year will end on 28 December, and the government has announced plans to return to a January start for schools next year. The academic year has commenced nationwide, welcoming approximately 90,000 students back to classrooms after a month-long holiday. Schools across the country greeted pupils warmly, signaling the start of another year dedicated to academic pursuits. Nearly 84,000 students are enrolled in the nation's 217 government-operated schools, with Male, the capital region, accommodating a disproportionately high share of the student population. This year, 33% of students are attending one of the 19 schools in Male, while the region also accounts for 21% of the education workforce. New admissions for grade 1 reflect a similar concentration in the capital. According to the Ministry of Education, over 2,000 students have enrolled in grade 1 within Male this year, bringing the nationwide total to more than 5,000 for this grade level. Patterns of student mobility underscore the educational dynamics of the country. Over 1,200 students have transferred from schools in the atolls to institutions in Male, the ministry has said, further reinforcing the capital's central role in the nation's education system. In addition, more than 500 students have made intra-atoll transfers, moving between schools within their respective regions. At the core of the academic infrastructure, 11,000 teachers are actively serving in the education sector this year, including 10,000 employed in government-run schools. According to the Education Ministry, the student-teacher ratio, one educator for every 8 students, highlights the government's continued emphasis on delivering quality education. Ensuring a smooth start to the academic year has been a priority for the Education Ministry. The distribution of essential resources such as textbooks and supplies was completed in advance to facilitate a seamless transition. However, staffing challenges remain a concern. Education Minister Dr. Ismail Shafil acknowledged the departure of several foreign teachers during the holiday period, but underscored that recruitment efforts are ongoing to fill the resulting vacancies without disruption. This academic year is set to conclude on 28 December, marking the end of the mid-year academic calendar. The government has announced plans to revert to a January start for the school year, reversing a policy introduced by the previous administration. Preparations for this transition are progressing, with the change expected to be fully implemented in the next academic year. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu has appointed Justice Hussein Shahid, the newest Supreme Court judge, as a member of the Judicial Service Commission, JSC. Justice Shahid, who was appointed to the Supreme Court on 19th March, replaces Justice Husnu Al-Suud following his resignation amid a corruption investigation. During the appointment ceremony at the President's office, Justice Shahid took his oath in the presence of the President, with Supreme Court Justice Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim administering it. Justice Shahid brings extensive academic and professional experience to the role, having studied law and Islamic Sharia at Al-Azhar University in Cairo and the Kulliyat al-Dirasat al-Islamiyya in the Maldives. His career includes key judicial positions such as Magistrate of Fedu Magistrate Court, Senior Magistrate at Horodu Magistrate Court, Criminal Court Judge, and High Court Judge since 2018. He became acting senior judge in November 2022, with his confirmation in October 2023. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Abdullah Khalil expressed gratitude to outgoing Saudi Arabian ambassador to the Maldives, Matrek Al-Ajalin Al-Dosari, for his pivotal role in strengthening diplomatic relations between the two countries. He expressed gratitude to the ongoing ambassador during a farewell meeting held on Sunday. Minister Khalil highlighted the ambassador's invaluable contributions to fostering close ties across various sectors and conveyed the government's sincere appreciation for his efforts. Minister Khalil commended the ambassador's warmth and unwavering dedication, expressing confidence that the enduring bond between the Maldives and Saudi Arabia will continue to strengthen and thrive under the leadership of his successor. He also extended his best wishes to Ambassador Al-Dosari in his future endeavors and assured full support and cooperation to the incoming ambassador. Ambassador Al-Dosari thanked the Maldives for the warm hospitality and friendship extended to him throughout his tenure and reaffirmed Saudi Arabia's commitment to further strengthening the bilateral relationship. Maldives National University MNU is exploring a partnership with the University of Waikato, New Zealand, to develop curriculum and boost academic research. During a private visit to New Zealand, MNU Vice-Chancellor Dr. Aishad Shahnaz Adam met with the University Waikato senior leadership, including Vice-Chancellor Professor Neil Quigley and Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor Professor Alistair Jones. The discussions focused on collaboration in areas such as PhD programs for Maldivian students, curriculum development, student and staff exchanges, and joint research. The University of Waikato will also provide supervisors for MNU's PhD programs. An agreement between the two universities is expected soon, aiming to enhance the Maldives' educational sector and create new opportunities for students and staff. The Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Shahnaz, is an alumni of Waikato University. The Maldives has inaugurated its first ever salt manufacturing facility in Diddu Ha Alif Atoll, marking a significant milestone for the country's domestic industry. A collaboration between Maldivian company M Deep Investment and its Japanese partner, the facility will produce premium quality edible salt, leveraging the Maldives' abundant natural resources. Built on a 15,000 square foot plot leased for 15 years, the factory was developed after quality tests in Japan revealed the exceptional mineral profile of Maldives seawater. The facility uses sustainable methods such as solar evaporation to produce 3 types of salt, with plans to explore salt for fish curing. Regular quality tests will be conducted in both the Maldives and Japan to maintain high standards. The company plans to expand with 4 more production facilities aiming to serve resorts and inhabited islands. MSC Magnifica, a cruise liner carrying nearly 3,000 passengers, completes the longest sea voyage to be processed by Maldives immigration to date. The vessel arrived in the Maldives on April 1st after departing from Fremantle, Australia on 27th March. The voyage across the Pacific Ocean and into the Indian Ocean marks the longest seaport clearance undertaken by Maldives immigration, with the authority clearing 2,818 tourists arriving on the ship. This includes 1,866 passengers and 952 crew members. The Maldives continues to be a popular destination for cruise liners, with several vessels arriving in the Maldives each year. MSC Magnifica is the 8th cruise liner to arrive in the Maldives this year. The increasing number of cruise liners visiting the Maldives has significantly contributed to boosting overall tourist arrivals. Over 600,000 tourists have visited the Maldives thus far this year, with the government targeting 2 to 3 million tourist arrivals by the end of this year. To accommodate the rise in cruise tourism, the government is developing dedicated cruise liners jetties in 3 locations across the Maldives. These efforts are currently underway. Saudi Arabia, the world's top oil exporter, slashed crude oil prices for Asian buyers in May to their lowest in 4 months, following a recent shock decision by the OPEC Plus oil group to speed up oil output hikes.
State oil company Saudi Aramco cut the May official selling price (OSP) for flagship Arab light crude by $2.30 to $1.20 a barrel, above the average of Oman and Dubai prices, a pricing document from the producer showed. The drop marks the biggest decline in more than 2 years and is the second consecutive month Aramco has lowered its prices. The company also lowered May prices for other grades it sells to Asia by $2.30 per barrel. 8 OPEC Plus countries in a surprise decision agreed on Thursday to advance their plan to phase out oil output cuts by increasing output by 411,000 barrels per day in May, triple the expected increase, representing around 0.4% of global supply. The news, together with an escalating global trade war, sent oil prices plunging nearly 11% in the week, ending April 4th, hitting more than 3-year lows. Prior to the latest decision by OPEC Plus analysts surveyed by Reuters, had expected Arab Light for Asia to be cut by $1.80 to $2, tracking the steep declines in benchmark prices in March. The spot premium of Dubai averaged $1.38 per barrel in March, down from $3.33, the average in February. The drops are also due to more Russian supply returned.
A Palestinian journalist was killed on Monday, April 7th, and 9 others were wounded, some critically.
According to medics and the local journalists union, the Palestinian journalist identified as Helmi Al-Faghawi was killed and 9 others were wounded when an Israeli airstrike hit a tent used by local media in southern Gaza. Israeli authorities did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Gaza medics said second Palestinian was also killed in the attack. Later, dozens of journalists and relatives took part in the funeral of the deceased journalist, Helmi Al-Faghawi. According to Palestinian Journalists Syndicate, Al-Faghawi's death raised the number of journalists killed by Israeli campaign in Gaza to more than 210 since October 2023. Local health authorities said in total Israeli military strikes had killed at least 10 Palestinians across the Gaza Strip on Monday alone. Palestinian officials say more than 50,000 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli offensive in Gaza. According to Israeli tellies, they began its offensive after thousands of Hamas-led gunmen attacked communities in southern Israel.
Yemenis in Sana'a inspected damage on Monday caused by a U.S. airstrike.
According to reports by Houthi-run Al Masirah TV, the strike took place in Shab al-Hafa neighborhood in the Shub district in the capital, killing at least 4 Yemenis and injuring dozens. The U.S. has been conducting its biggest military attacks against the Yemeni group under President Donald Trump's administration since March 15. The strikes are meant to force the Iran-aligned Houthis to renounce attacks on shipping in the Red Sea, including against U.S. warships. The group has carried over 100 attacks on shipping since Israel's war with Hamas began in late 2023, saying they're acting in solidarity with Gaza's Palestinians. The attacks have disrupted global commerce and set the U.S. military off on a costly campaign to intercept missiles. Houthi leaders have said they will escalate attacks in response to the U.S. campaign.
The Kremlin said that Russia was ready to do all it could to help resolve tensions between the United States and Iran around Tehran's nuclear program, as Washington demands Tehran do a nuclear deal with it or be bombed.
Moscow has repeatedly offered to mediate between the two sides after warnings of military action against Iran by U.S. President Donald Trump have rattled nerves across the region. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that they are in constant consultations with their Iranian partners, including on the topic of the nuclear deal. He went on to explain that the process will continue, including in the near future, and of course Russia is ready to make every effort to do everything possible to contribute to this problem's resolution by political and diplomatic means. During his first term, Trump withdrew the U.S. from a 2015 deal between Iran and the world powers that placed strict limits on Tehran's disputed nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. Iran says it needs nuclear energy for peaceful purposes and denies it is seeking to acquire nuclear weapons. Tehran has pushed back against Trump's demands for direct talks, with a senior Iranian official issuing a warning over the weekend to neighbors that host US bases that they could be in the firing line. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakov said last week that Trump's comments about bombing Iran only served to complicate the situation and cautioned that strikes could be catastrophic for the wider region. Russia has for the most part refrained from such sharp criticism of Trump. President Vladimir Putin has moved quickly since Trump took office to repair relations with the US in a rapprochement viewed with concern by Ukraine and its European allies. Moscow has also deepened ties with Tehran since the start of the full-scale conflict in Ukraine, with the two signing a strategic partnership treaty in January.
Paris Saint-Germain remained unbeaten as they won their fourth straight League One title on Saturday, April 5th, after a 1-0 victory over Angers gave Luis Enrique's side an unassailable lead in the French top flight.
The victory moved PSG to 74 points with 6 rounds left. PSG are 24 points ahead of the second-place AS Monaco. Although the first half was goalless, PSG utterly dominated possession and took 11 shots, but the home side could not find the back of the net. But 10 minutes into the second half, PSG took the lead. PSG could not double their advantage as the Angers defense stood strong, but that did not stop the home fans from chanting, "We are the champions," even before the full-time whistle had blown.
Thousands of visitors flocked to Keukenhof in Lycée Saturday, April 5th, to admire several millions of tulips, daffodils, hyacinths, and many flowers of other kinds and colors on display.
The 250-hectare flower garden, located just 30 kilometers south of Amsterdam, lies in the middle of the Netherlands' flower bulb region called Bollenstreek. Stefan Slobe, team leader of the gardeners in Keukenhof, explained that the nutritional values and the permeability in the region's sandy soil create the perfect conditions for floriculture. Annually, Slobe and his 39 colleagues plant 7 million flower bulbs in more than 1,600 varieties. Slobe said that this is the biggest task of the year and that they start in the second week of October, and a day before Christmas they are done. In 2024, the area attracted thousands of visitors in less than 8 weeks, which makes it one of the biggest tourist attractions in the Netherlands. Doctors from New York, Yusuf Rahman and his wife Shehnaz Douman, told Reuters that they had come to the park for their honeymoon. The park opened on March 20th this year and will close again on May 11th.
And that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a pleasant day ahead.